Before Darkest Hour, Gary Oldman's 15 Best Performances. Gary Oldman's finest roles. Cleveland, Ohio. Few actors vanish into their roles and completely as Gary Oldman, who recently earned widespread critical acclaim for his transformation into Winston Churchill for the World War I-era political drama Darkest Hour. The veteran actor has been praised for disposing of every last ounce of his own personality and embodying even the smallest aspects of Churchill's. But the widespread praise inspired by his latest performance isn't a surprise to anyone familiar with his past work. He's one of the most celebrated and decorated actors alive today, and with Darkest Hour hitting theaters this weekend, we decided to take a look at his best parts. Here they are, his top 15 performances ranked from worst to best. 15. The Dark Knight trilogy. Of all the Commissioner Gordon throughout television and movie history, none have brought as much seriousness and poignancy to the role as Gary Oldman. This trilogy takes a deeper dive into the character's backstory, portraying him as a devoted family man as well as a dedicated cop, and Oldman is more than up to the task of portraying this nuanced version of the character. 14. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Oldman plays a human leader who is suspicious of the burgeoning ape society in the middle chapter of this prequel series. It's a relatively small role, but it's an important one that plays perfectly into the film's overarching themes of natural human mistrust and paranoia, traits that Oldman works hard to embody throughout the course of the film. 13. The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element is a bad movie, pinballing between action and comedy without much poise or finesse, focusing too closely on elements of the story that don't matter, and failing to provide the sense of fun that it promises. Oldman, however, brought his trademark manic style to the role of the central villain, managing to offer a few moments of genuine enjoyment in what is otherwise a laborious slog. 12. Hannibal. This long-awaited follow-up to the celebrated serial killer drama Silence of the Lambs was something of a disappointment, with an underwhelming story and a performance from Anthony Hopkins that fell somewhat short of his award-winning part in this film's predecessor. But Oldman's performance as a disfigured child molester seeking vengeance against the title character is nothing short of mesmerizing. I had no idea it was Oldman in that role until the credits, which is truly the mark of a great actor. 11. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Oldman stars opposite Tim Roth as two minor characters from Shakespeare's legendary play Hamlet in this early 90s drama, which is based on an award-winning stage play of the same name. While the material seems more suited to the stage than the silver screen, critics lavish praise on the performances of the cast, especially Oldman in a role of Rosencrantz. 10. JFK. This Oliver Stone-directed assassination drama has been rightfully criticized for playing fast and loose with the facts and being too quick to embrace wild and unproven conspiracy theories. But the film itself is a thrillingly directed and fiercely well-acted drama. Few impress the audience as much as Oldman, who plays presidential assassin, or rather a patsy, according to this story Lee Harvey Oswald. 9. The Harry Potter series. The veteran actor strives for pure fun in these adaptations of the beloved series of children's novels, bringing a manic intensity to the role of Potter's godfather Sirius Black. While few would argue that Sirius Black is among Oldman's finest performances, he's a blast to watch and a delightful addition to these movies, which is why a role appears on this list. 8. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oldman is delightfully sinister in this adaptation of Bram Stoker's seminal novel. While the movie takes the story in a decidedly more romantic, not to mention overtly sexual direction, it's notable thanks to Oldman in a role of the primary antagonist, in which he outshines everyone else on screen, including fellow acting veteran Anthony Hopkins and a woefully miscast Keanu Reeves. 7. State of Grace. Warning: the trailer above contains harsh language. Oldman faces off with Sean Penn in this early 90s New York City set crime thriller, with Penn's undercover cop is up against Oldman's unpredictable Irish mobster. Oldman manifests a edgy, lower-class look for much of the film, wearing tattered clothes and appearing ungroomed, with character traits to match. It's ultimately the rapport between the two lead actors that makes this film watchable. 6. Sid and Nancy. More than 3 decades before he transformed himself into British leader Winston Churchill for Darkest Hour, Oldman shed every last ounce of his own personality to embody the demeanor of punk rock pioneer and Sex Pistols singer Sid Vicious for this biopic. While the movie itself is a bit of a bore, Oldman is electric as the infamous punk vocalist. 5. Prick up your ears. A young Oldman plays a British playwright whose burgeoning potential generates a conflict with his lover, ultimately resulting in tragedy. In this classic film, tragedy is hard to achieve if the audience doesn't empathize with the characters. Fortunately for Prick Up Your Ears, it had Gary Oldman, who summoned all of his wit and charm to play ostentatious playwright Joe Jordan. It was a departure for Oldman, who was known more for playing delinquents at that point in his career. Prick Up Your Ears proved he possessed the talent to play any character. 4. Romeo is bleeding. In this neo-noir crime thriller, Oldman plays a cop who washes dirty laundry for the mob. That's a metaphor, and cheats on his wife, but still somehow manages to make you root for him. The hallmark of a great actor is portraying a despicable human being who nevertheless generates sympathy from the audience, which Oldman achieves admirably in this role. 3. True romance. Warning: the video above contains harsh language. Oldman managed to turn in one of his most iconic performances in this early 90s action thriller despite only a few minutes of screen time. He plays a smack-talking, dreadlock-sporting pimp and drug dealer from whom the central character must rescue his love interest. There's no way I can't do justice to the nuances of his performance in such a short description. I recommend you just watch the movie, but it speaks to the depths of Oldman's talent that he can make the movie memorable with only a few lines of dialogue. 2. Leon the Professional. Warning: the video above contains harsh language. Oldman plays a cunningly sinister crooked cop in this Luc Besson-directed action movie. His corrupt New York City detective Norman Stansfield is savage and sadistic, but his workman-like attitude and utter distaste for the mundane make him almost relatable. Sure, his evil antics reach comic book level silliness at times, but you can tell he always took a role seriously and the character never ventures too far outside the realm of believability. 1. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. In this espionage thriller based on a book by iconic spy novel author John le Carré, Oldman plays Spy Chief George Smiley, who is brought out of retirement to deal with the aftermath of an agent's apparent death during the height of the Cold War. While it's not Oldman's most well-known performance, his dedication to the part earned him a plethora of award nominations.